So, good morning, guys. This is Maria, today's guest. She's gonna be in the podcast with us. You can give a little introduction to yourself so people knows you a little bit. Oh, she got nervous.
I have two cats.
You know what I was thinking? Now that we were talking about theater and how she has a different personality when she is doing any performance, and this is curious because for me, you can take from people little pieces of what they do. So when you base your knowledge in something, like for example in dancing, everybody can know how to dance, but you see that they have a particular pattern and you say, okay, this is what this person looks like. And if you look at their silhouette at some point, or their shadow, you would see them, you would recognize them. So it's very curious. Do you think that's a whole personality, or we think that we just base that on what? What do you think we base that?
Mine, I think personally in my experience, and I think everybody probably does something similar to this, but like, you just take kind of like what works from other people. Like, what works for other people, I guess. That's kind of how I feel about it.
Like taking the best parts?
Yeah, the best parts of other people. Because like, if you want to progress forward, you have to aim higher. So you have to aim for higher like people. So I always find myself like looking up to other people, especially with what I do. Like I see people, I'm like, wow, I could be that or better. And so I always like find myself like looking and taking on different traits of those people to try to put my mind, or trick my mind. It's like all about tricking your mind, I guess.
Yeah.
And then, because that's what it is. Like when you're like depressed, when you're really, really depressed, you get locked in a cycle.
Are you depressed?
I
So why does that come from? You used to be depressed?
Used to be depressed.
Okay. You had this, and what helped you to get out of that?
For me, it was like a bit extreme. So I took mushrooms. Not that I'm condoning it, because like if you're not strong-minded, you're not equipped for it. But if you're very strong-minded, and I seem to be, or I feel that way.
Or if you were depressed in that moment, that means that in that moment you were not strong-minded.
No, I didn't even know I was depressed.
Okay.
I didn't even know. That's what I'm saying. Like, you don't even know, so you have to like trick yourself into progressing. And then whenever you progress further, like your mind, then you realize that you were actually a little lower than you were before. So mine was just kind of like a really intense experience of just seeing everything clearly for the first time, realizing that I had spent 20 years of my life, which is a long time, and we don't have a long time on this. We have about like maybe 100 years.
And a lot.
Maybe.
It's not even the media. The media in the US is like 75, I think so.
Exactly. So that's like a quarter or a third of my life, maybe. And I smoke, so I mean like I probably won't live past a healthy number. So just reasonably, right? Like if you put anything into your body, anything, alcohol, anything,
you're contributing to live less.
Yeah. And you're choosing that when you do that.
Yeah.
So you can, like I choose to smoke. I know the risks. So that's kind of...
So, but when it comes to the depression, you said that you took shrooms, but what were those key points that you said, okay, like maybe this day or this realization in life made me change, like doing this practice or having this mindset? Something that you say, I had to change this in my life to be different.
I had to see the world in color first. So I didn't realize that whenever you're, I think, depressed or negatively, in a negative state of mind, you tend to see the world as black and white. And so I don't know if you've ever seen like the Powerpuff Girls. Have you ever seen that? Okay, so
I love it.
Do you remember the episode with the clown where he's like going through and he's painting the world black and white because he's depressed? That's how I felt. And then when I took them, I realized I just kind of came to terms with everything. I was like, okay, this is the end. This is real. This is everything that's happening. And this is how much time I've spent and I don't feel good, so why don't I just try to feel better? And then the entire world like just changed in the color. It was just like very instant for me.
Really?
Yeah, it was instant.
But
like,
it was like the day after you took the shrooms or something?
no, it was while it was happening. While I was on them,
So they cured you basically?
Yes. So medicinally speaking, they're good, but you have to. I was blessed enough to already want to be better.
So it made you basically grateful because
Yes.
there is a video from Kurzgesagt, which is they have a really good channel where they teach things, and they talk about the psychology of the dissatisfaction.
Yeah.
And they were trying to find why some people just have dissatisfaction about anything, like they just don't enjoy things. And this psychologist started to realize that the cure for dissatisfaction was gratitude at the end. So
Yeah, it is.
So like be grateful for what you already have. Actually, we touched this point in the last podcast because we were talking about how you could be more motivated to do things and how not to be dissatisfied. Because for example, if you have dissatisfaction, that means that when you achieve a goal, you don't enjoy that goal. Let's say like, I don't know, you finish your career. But if you don't feel satisfaction and you finish your career, your life is losing some sense. So it's about enjoying that process so much that when you get to the point,
A fly scared me. I was like, oh no.
Oh,
There's
no.
a kid in my ear.
so when you get to the point that you commit to that goal, you are gonna enjoy even the process to do that goal, not just their goal. Because then you finish that goal and what are you gonna feel? You feel so empty, like, oh, so what now? What do I do? I have to set another goal? No, you enjoy all the process and you have constant
I see
gratitude.
what you mean. Yeah, like be grateful for like every step forward.
Exactly, because you are advancing, you are doing it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because I know we have to be realistic in the sense that we know that we live in a cruel world for sure. But
Yeah, it's nature. Nature is not.
yeah, people
Nature
think
is
like,
not-
oh,
It's beautiful, but it's not kind.
they say no, it's humans. No, it's nature.
No,
like,
yeah, it's animal.
The world, exactly. The world is like this. The world is fucking cruel.
It is.
So guys, we just got apart because we got into a really, really strong debate, and we don't wanna publish that because it was.
And that's all that matters. That's
know what
all
is a
that
bear.
matters.
You don't know what is a bear for sure.
No, I do know what a bear
Have you
is.
seen a bear?
Yes.
No, you haven't.
I have definitely seen a bear. Oh, no,
Guys, what do you think?
I
She
was
haven't
in-
ever seen a bear.
I literally have
She haven't ever seen
I
a
have a
bear.
video of a bear on my phone. How about
She
that?
haven't ever seen a bear,
no,
right,
I'm gonna,
guys?
I'm gonna get my phone
She
out.
haven't ever in her
I
life
literally
seen
have
a bear.
video of a bear.
Yeah. Like people would feel like, oh my god, they're fighting.
Oh yeah.
People
fair.
would feel that. So we cut that part, but so we're gonna come back to how she got out of depression.
I think so. Yeah.
So, but it's pretty curious because she had to have that like turning point, and we think like with any psychedelic or anything, that's the method that you should. That's the way that you should use it, like for a specific purpose. She used it for a purpose. She was depressed. That changes something. But if you're using it just recreational, it's gonna cause that every time that you feel like lonely or every time that you feel a little bit sad, you're gonna want to do it because you think that that's what lifts you up, and you don't want to be dependent on something. So if you have a purpose to use something, that's great, just like she did. That changed her whole perspective, right?
Yeah, it did. It completely like I don't know, just like at the drop of a hat was completely different. And
I've heard that with people that use ayahuasca.
yeah, that's kind of what it is. But my method like of choice was like mushrooms. I think if you take enough mushrooms, you'll get a DMT kind of like or ayahuasca like trip. But
But they say that ayahuasca is just another whole fucking level. Like people, you know what surprised me about ayahuasca? Like when people go and have the experience and they say that they see the same creatures. That's crazy because the things that you see should be like independent for every person. So if you go to a realm of something or another dimension or whatever, that should be like your realm. But the thing with ayahuasca is that it takes you to a particular world where people say that they see the same things and they see the same creatures, like multidimensional creatures. And that makes me so curious because that makes me think that Earth really has something way deeper than we think. You know Avatar, the movie?
Yeah.
So the whole planet is a living existence.
Yeah, but yes, it
right?
is. I mean, it genuinely is.
Yes.
I mean,
our planet is like just not communicative like that planet,
oh,
but
it
it's
is,
the same.
though. It is.
Yeah,
like,
in the sense that they could even like, they had to use like the planet to even reproduce.
I'm pretty sure. Let me Google this real quick because I just want to make sure. But I'm pretty sure that like there's a certain frequency that we resonate at, and there's a certain frequency that our planet resonates at. And the plant, like I was looking up Kenneth Copeland.
Exactly.
The frequency that we resonate at, I think, might be the same one. So it could be something like that. Yeah, 7.83 for Earth, and then I don't know what actually any of this means, but no, we operate at 20 hertz.
Yeah. I know these things. I know what they're talking about. But this is physical. So what this means is that. So actually, this is one of the things that I wanna do when I'm rich, which is like doing investigations, because imagine that this panel is the frequencies. This is 0,
Yeah.
and this is the limit, like whatever, 300,000, whatever. So we humans are between 20 and that number that you saw, which is this little part. That means that there is a lot of frequencies that we don't hear.
Yeah, exactly.
But there are some animals that they are here, or
Like
here,
whales.
or here.
Whales
or
are
here.
like all the way over here.
Yes, it's so different.
Or
So
is
that's
it
why
whales or dolphins or?
that's why birds. Have you seen that birds? They know when something is coming because they hear it from the earth in some frequencies that we don't hear.
Oh.
So that's why they live. It's not like magical. They don't have like magic sense. They literally hear things that we don't hear.
I love
Because
that.
they know new frequencies. And for me particularly, one investigation that I want to do is research about how to get to those frequencies, because that would make us way more developed. We could hear things from further away. We could know when something bad is about to happen.
Yeah.
Like a earthquake, for example. You could hear it underground.
You don't think we already have equipment for that? Don't we have like?
We have equipment, but I want to do it
Sonar
like you can do it.
detectors?
What I mean is like your ear.
You don't. Sometimes I feel like in my experiences on psychedelics, I feel like I have tapped into that feeling.
Me too,
Yeah.
me too actually. So what I tell to my friend actually is like when I smoke a little bit of weed, my ear and my visuals are way stronger.
Yeah, exactly.
Way stronger. Like my thinking process is slower, but that makes my what do you call them?
Senses.
My senses way stronger.
Yeah.
Even though my mind is lower, like like even my skin, like I can feel every single detail and I can hear every single detail. Like when I'm listening to a new song and I say like I really like it, and then I hear it again, but in that particular scenario where I smoke or something,
Yeah.
and it's magic because I understand every detail. And the curious thing is that this happens with almost all our senses, because in the visual sense, it's the same. We have, instead of hertz, we have electromagnetic field. So light is an electromagnetic wave. So what this means is that, for example, there are several. There is the normal colors that we see. This is what humans see. But after that, that's ultraviolet. You don't see ultraviolet, but that's like the last color.
Isn't ultraviolet bad for our eyes though?
We don't even see it. So we have the electromagnetic field. So this is the line, for example, and this is what humans can see. So in this part, before, there is infrared, and in this part is ultraviolet. So infrared, what we're seeing here is the speed of the waves. So the more you increase, is because the waves are faster. That's why when your phone or when the lights are purple, you struggle to sleep more because there are way more waves going to you. And after ultraviolet, you have like gamma, you have like radiation, etc. And inferior, you have like microwave. Microwave is also part of the electromagnetic field. And they are all the same. But the only thing that we can see is the colors that we know already. But there's way more. What if we could see ultraviolet? What if we could see FM, AM? Like even the radio waves, those are the same electromagnetic waves. We could see everything.
What would be the benefit of seeing excess like light waves?
Like we could see another colors that we don't know that exist.
Oh, just for like aesthetic purposes?
No, it's not aesthetic. Like it could make your visual way more complex and advanced. Like you would be a stronger human in some sense because your visual is way stronger.
I can see that.
Like there are animals that have a way bigger lengthway where they can see a lot of colors and deepness that we cannot
right,
see.
like I think whales have the ability, like they see, I don't know what, a ridiculous amount of colors in comparison to us.
I don't know. I'm not sure, but I know that there's
But
around.
that's because they're underwater though, so their eyes have to adapt to that. Like
Yeah.
our eyes are
It depends on
adapted to this, and in my own like mentality, at least like from what I've learned from the sun, is that even like the waves that reflect off the sun are bad for you, and I'm under the impression that they're considered ultraviolet waves. So I don't know if it would. I feel like hearing everything would be pretty amazing, but I don't know if like our eyes would be adapted to that.
Oh, it
But
would.
I feel like we would have to wear those like. Have you ever? Is it Star Trek? It is Star Trek. Star Trek Next Generation. I think there's this guy who has this thing over his eyes, and I'm not sure what the hell it does. I'm really not, but that's how I kind of like imagine it, because you would still have to protect your eyes from ultraviolet light, even if you could see it. Like
No, ultraviolet light is not like that.
it's not. So
No.
what is it? What is it that?
You see ultraviolet.
What is it that damages your eyes from the sun?
UV.
The UV?
Yeah, it's
What the hell
ultraviolet,
is
but it's
UV? Yeah.
but it's different. It's not in such a high frequency. It's because the one from the sun is straight radiation.
Yeah.
So it's different because depends on what you use it. Have you seen like detectives when they have a purple light and they look at like marks and everything? That's ultraviolet.
Oh.
That's why you can see
You're gonna like
things.
turn us into a predator.
That's like,
from
for example,
Aliens versus Predator, like-
like if you wanna see like you have blood or anything, like and I cannot see it, like I could check with ultraviolet.
You could
because it shows.
sell that idea to the military. Sell that idea
And-
to the U.S.
Yeah.
Cut that out and sell it, because that would be super, super, super good for us to
Yes,
have.
because for example, that was a perfect example what I just told you. Like you could see already if
Yeah.
you're lying in that sense. If you're dirty or I don't know, you kill somebody and you clean the blood, like I could see already the marks that you had.
I don't know. That
It's
could
so
be
good.
used for nefarious reasons too, though.
Yeah, but
Right?
it would be.
Like-
but you would be a more advanced human. That's what I'm talking
It
about.
would be
I
more
want,
advanced.
Exactly. That's what I want to achieve. Like the humans can have a stronger listening, stronger eyes, and not just in colors. Like I want them to see like a falcon where they can see from kilometers away, from so far. Their eyes are so more advanced. They can see like in the sky their prey being on the floor and jump on them. And God, then we cannot see from that. We just see like a little tiny dot. Barely.
We wouldn't have the capacity to do that based on our like the cone in our eyes. We could probably see other colors, but probably not like zoom in.
If something,
Unless
I
it was, like,
realize
a
something in
computer.
technology is that everything is possible.
Yeah, I mean, if you had
Everything.
if like computer eyes, maybe.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like Elon Musk is doing it now with Neuralink.
That's the only thing that I can see probably with the capability to do that. But
Maybe we couldn't do it like for you particularly, but if you could edit genetically your son, that would be possible. The thing is that it's illegal. For example, in China, this guy tried to do it to people and
Try
to
to
the
do what?
newborn, edit them, like genetically edit their DNA to make them better, and he got in jail because
Yeah.
it can be really dangerous too, because you could change the whole genetic code of human and you can create a new whole race. That would be scary because you could be creating a new generation in the society where we would be the ones like inferior, and the story would repeat again, and then we will be treated like shit, and they will be treated like, no, we're the real race, we are the better, the best. That's exactly what would happen.
no, exactly. I mean, we would.
You know, right? That's
100%
exactly what it was gonna happen.
Human beings would be so divided so fast.
Exactly. So that's why they don't let them, because if you create a new super powerful race, the same story would repeat again, where they are gonna treat us like shit. We're just simple humans. We would all be
I was like, what?
we would all be like pieces of shit compared to them. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah, so there's this, I see like two methods. One, it could be with glasses that do it. Two,
it would have to be Neuralink.
genetically addition.
I think it could be technologically modified. It would have to probably connect to Neuralink. That's what I think.
Yes, but the problem is that this has some physical things too. Like it's like a camera. Like you can put the strongest software ever in a camera, but you would still have to change the lens. That's what I mean. Like even if I have Neuralink and I have like more colors and whatever, you still have your lens. With
You don't want to do anything with that. I think that should be naturally adapted
Exactly.
to humans.
The only
We
way
don't really need that though. We have peripheral, and that's kind of like we don't really need to zoom in on everything that far.
Yeah, but yeah, that's what I want. Like use technology to make humans way more advanced. Like because it's so incredible that we cannot even imagine. It's out of our comprehension. Because I always tell this. It's like explaining somebody that was born blind the color red. How would he describe it? Like, hey, what's the color red? How would he know? He has no idea what even a color is.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same for us. We don't even understand what it is because it's beyond our comprehension. What does that look like? What is ultraviolet? What is electromagnetic field? We would see all of these
I feel
things.
like you can feel it though.
We cannot. We think that we do, but we cannot. It's just behind us. So we have to be. That's what happens with the human. That we are
You do feel
egocentric.
it though. Like if you stick your hand under a black light, you feel the particles or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
The same thing with the sun. Like
Yeah, but
do
what
feel
you're
it.
not seeing.
I think we're just out of touch with it. That's it.
So light doesn't have weight. It's. Do you remember when I was talking to you about the speed limit that we have,
Yeah.
which is the light, the speed of light?
Yeah.
So that's the limit, and you know what it is because their particles don't have weight. It's the only particle that don't have weight. It's called photon. So you know that there are different electrons, whatever, electrons, protons. There are a lot of particles, but there's the light one. It's called photon. The particularity with photons is that they are the only particle ever that don't have weight.
Okay.
It doesn't have any weight. So that's why it can like pass you through, like because it doesn't even have anything to be. So that's why it's the only one that can reach that speed because it doesn't weigh nothing. Nothing.
Okay. I see.
So, but what I mean by this is like you could feel it physically, yes, because when our life is so strong, it's giving you that sense. But what you're feeling is the radiation. You're not feeling the electromagnetic field. It's exactly what you say about the sun. Yes, but it's exactly what you say about the sun. So you have to wonder, am I feeling the sun or am I feeling the radiation?
Does it really matter what you're feeling? You are feeling it.
Yes, but there are two
Like
things.
how deep does it have to go? Like if you're feeling the warmth of the sun, like you're feeling it.
Yeah. But what I mean is like you're feeling also other things. You're feeling the heat is coming with energy.
No, I know, but
It's so curious, right? Because how can you feel something that doesn't have any weight, right?
maybe it's because of how fast it moves. Maybe
It's
that's
possible,
what creates
possible.
heat. I don't know.
Actually, heat is movement.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. I was like,
Heat is
maybe it
movement.
is the light or the.
When a microwave is warming food, that's exactly
Like
what
all
it's doing.
moving the water particles.
Yes, exactly. And all
Yeah.
they are called polar particles. There are some materials that has it, water has it, but there are other ones that has it. And what they do is move them, and that's how it warms up. So basically, movement is heat. Yeah.
Yeah, except for fire. I don't know what the fuck fire is. That confuses the hell out of me.
We had a whole conversation
I
the other day with
don't
that.
understand plasma, y'all. I do not. I don't know what it is.
Are you gonna tattoo yourself?
No. I'm okay with the one. I don't want another one. I feel like the one is already a bit much, so I don't want to add any more to my body. And I do, for some reason, feel like tattoos kind of take away from like femininity sometimes. I don't know.
Really? Not for
Yeah.
me. For me, it's more about like, for me, they make you be the same all your life, and I'm such a changing person that I'm not really sure if I'm gonna like it in 5 years because I might not be the same person. I'm in constant change and evolution, and I gotta be smart with the Jackson of the future. I don't want my Jackson of the future telling me like, "Why do you do this, Jackson?" Because now I might love it. It could go with my purposes in life. I don't know, being hot, finding more chicks, or feeling good when I look at the mirror. But if in 5 years I have less ego and I don't want it, it's gonna be fucked up. So that's why I don't do it. I think that my body is like.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really care for tattoos that much. Like, I like maybe 1 or 2 tattoos, or because I think I don't know. I just think people are so beautiful already. So, like your body's already a masterpiece.
Yeah, I
Like,
think the same.
Literally a masterpiece. So why take away from it by adding more to it? You know? That's why too much of anything. But that's like if you have too many tattoos, I don't like that. Like I think it makes it look like you want attention more than. I mean, and people would say they like express themselves, but
For me, they look so fucking fire. For me, I don't care the person that have it, but I do care about me having it. But like me watching it, that person, I always usually like it if it's well done. If it's ugly, it's ugly. That's it. If you have an ugly tattoo, you have an ugly tattoo.
that's
But that's different. It's like it's not about being tattooed. It's about your fucking tattoo. It's ugly. It's
yeah.
like,
I met.
I don't like it.
That is true. That is true. Yeah, I met somebody that has like tattoos, like a lot of tattoos, but they're also perfectly placed, and I'm just like, okay, I can see why this is pretty.
It's more artistic.
But for me and my experience with seeing people in tattoos, they're never really perfectly placed, and that's why I don't like them very much.
Yeah. But there are some artists. There are some really good artists. People just want to be cheap, and with tattoos you cannot be cheap.
You cannot.
You cannot because
You
it's something
cannot.
for life, man. You gotta do something real. You gotta unpack those 5K. That's okay because it's gonna be all your life. All your life you're gonna have that mark, and you have to get something that is really meaningful. And you say, "Fuck yeah!"
Yeah, like
the original and that represents you.
I've definitely.
So funny how the people without tattoos is talking about tattoos.
I know.
So let's talk about that. Have you romanticized a lie?
I romanticize a lot of things. I don't know if I've romanticized a lie, but I probably, definitely could have.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means though.
I mean, it's when you try to justify a lie putting something on it, like a justification to that lie, but at the end, lying is lying. We might say.
Yeah, I think that I've done that before.
She's like,
I'm like, oh no. You have to want to do that. Like,
what do you mean?
like,
Of course. Like,
yeah.
there's no other method.
You have to want to like romanticize something in order to romanticize it.
Sometimes we do it by instinct too. Like if the lie is already done and you are so committed to that lie that you are not gonna admit that you're lying, people just start to romanticize.
Oh, I was
that.
thinking in the context of other people lying to me.
It can be anything. It can be you, because it can be someone else.
I don't think I would romanticize a lie that.
For example, let's say that you went out with your ex-boyfriend and your boyfriend realized that, and then you fuck the guy, and then what you tell to your boyfriend is like, we're just best friends. We ended up in good terms, so now we're friends, and please don't make me do this. We have always been together like this. She romanticized that lie. She tried to put something else there, and at the end of the day, it was a fucking lie. And that happens in a lot of countries.
I see.
You see, she romanticized that lie. She tried to put something there, and she just continued lying. You romanticize lies. That's what it comes from.
Yeah, well, that's shitty. So I don't understand it really.
Yeah, you said that you have done it.
In other people, like other people who have been like who've misled me, I've definitely romanticized it. I romanticize a lot because I think I see the world in like a weird way, like a hopeless. I see the world like a fucking Disney movie. So of course, like I romanticize everything, but
you're living a fairy tale.
I would prefer to live in a fairy tale than to accept the reality of what's happening around me. And I'm allowed to do that, so that's a good thing.
You have free will until you don't.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna worry about that.
Yeah, don't worry about that for now.
No, I would say I can't lie for shit. Like if I try to, you can catch me because I don't really try. Like I just
You're
prefer
always lying. You've lied to me so many times already.
not to lie.
You've lied to me so many times already. But I just don't say shit. I'm like, oh my god, all the discrepancies.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
Well, it depends. Like when I first
Romanticize.
There
She's
you
just
go.
doing
You're right,
it.
you're
She's
right.
just doing it.
You're right.
She's romanticizing the life.
right.
You see?
You're right. I think it
You
depends.
see, it's a
maybe.
good subject of conversation.
Yeah, it is. I think it depends, maybe. Maybe it's like to keep them protected. Like if you romanticize a lie, it's like to protect yourself or protect somebody else.
I wouldn't justify. I think it's
I don't
just
think
a flaw.
I don't think it's.
I think it's a flaw. I've done it, and I think it's a flaw for myself and for you.
It's justifiable, but
Yeah. Sometimes there are some that are justified. They are justified romanticized lies because, for example, the ones that your parents tell you about the teeth, like the fairy of the teeth. How do you call it in English?
tooth fairy.
The tooth fairy is gonna come and it's gonna give you some money. That's a lie, romanticized. But that's okay because it's a child where you don't want him to suffer and you want him to be willing to take
Well, you
the
like
teeth out.
want to give them magic or whatever.
But like with shitty things, it's like no, simply no, simply no.
Yeah. Oh no.
For example, a romanticized lie. In our government, everybody was hating the dictator, and he just didn't publish the public. And he said that they won the elections by 78%, and you can see clearly how he tried to say like, hey, no, they hack us, and the imperialism is trying to again get back the revolution and whatever, romanticizing all the lies to the people actually, because he knows that he did it for his own self, on purpose to continue in that narco government. This is a serious romantic life.
Yeah.
Life.
But that's to protect the people, though, right?
No, he's a dictator. He's not protecting shit. He's protecting his own interests. What people is he protecting?
Oh, I don't know.
No, what people
I don't
is he
know. I
protecting?
don't know anything about his actions or.
Dictator is a dictator anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, a dictator is not trying to protect anybody but himself.
Do you know who Princess Bubblegum is?
Yeah, the one from like
Adventure Time. I don't know. That's how I feel about like dictators, I guess. Like she is. I mean, dictators are self-serving, like true dictators. But I don't know. Sometimes I feel like because of the level we're at, we're not meant to be involved at the higher levels of control because we're just not in that position. And sometimes what might feel like a dictator is actually not.
What are you supporting?
Like,
what are you saying?
I guess like
Why are you justifying lies?
I'm not justifying
You're
lies.
romanticizing their lies.
No.
Because we know that they are lies. We know, and you're trying to romanticize it. That's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, but are we implying that in every corner of the world, or?
No, I'm just talking about my country, particularly.
Oh, your country?
I say
Okay,
that-
okay.
Yeah, my president and the current dictators that exist.
I don't know anything about your country.
Yes, I get that. Because of the comment you made. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about the leaders in our country. I was like,
This is not a dictatorship, at least not a public.
it's not, but some people think it is.
Yeah, some people think, but it's not. It's not.
Okay.
It's way freer than that. It's not
That's
North
why I was
Korea. It's
like-
not Cuba. Cuba is a fucking.
I was like, maybe that's not like the perspective. But I don't know anything about your dictator in your country.
It's socialism. It's fucked. They lost the elections and they manipulated the results. Like we even proved it. Like we got into the system and we saw everything and the other person.
You know, they said that here too.
Huh?
They said that here too.
But here they don't have proof. Here we have proof. Like the machines go through a certain process and we counted it, but the government never published it. And like you could tell all the people from every state in Venezuela, like taking like, no, here he won, here he won, here he won. And then he's like, we won.
Weird.
Everybody was crying, like nobody wants him, nobody. He didn't even let the people outside vote for that same purpose, because everybody that is outside of the country is because they are suffering. They want to be with their families. I saw like videos of grown-ass men, old with beer, 40 years old, crying, saying, fuck, I thought I was gonna go back to my country. I thought that I was gonna see my mom and go back home. They knew they were gonna, people cry, like, do you think that he won? Like, it's so evident, so evident.
That's sad.
you understand it, right? Like, that's what we mean by romanticize.
I feel like it's necessary though sometimes.
In the good context, I told you.
Yeah.
I told you there are some good ways, but there is always the dark part. It's always something so dark. And the sad part is like the smartest people in the world are the people with older thinking process. So it's sad that the most people that are sociopath or psychopath, they have the highest IQ. So they are more probably. So that's why most people in the top is usually not caring about the people because they have less feelings. They don't feel as much. They don't feel all that empathy. So if you don't feel empathy, that like what I was telling you in the morning about me not sleeping if I use all the people for my benefit in that religious context. Like they don't feel that. They don't feel shit. They just want their own objectives, their own things. And sadly, the psychopath and the sociopath are the ones that are on the top because they are the ones with highest IQ.
Yeah, so maybe the only way to combat that is to get people who are not psychopathic or sociopathic and put them in places where they can exert power to balance it out.
Yeah, the problem with that is that the people on the top wouldn't ever let that happen because at the end, power is something individual.
They would if they didn't know. They would if they thought that you were like a part of them. And then...
How would you make that?
I don't know, chameleon?
Huh?
Chameleon? Like build
Huh?
like you just chameleon yourself. That's it.
Yeah.
Become a chameleon. Like
The
if
thing
you
is
have
that-
the capacity to be rich, like infiltrate the rich and
Yeah,
then put
but that
yourself
makes
in
you
a
part of
healthy
it.
connection.
That makes you part of it. What we're
Not if
talking-
you're moving in good action.
So what we're talking about here is not about that possibility exists, whether or not that possibility
Yeah.
exists. But the thing is that we're talking about is that the majority of these people is the one with those condoms. The one
Yeah,
being
they definitely are.
So the problem is that the good ones are a minority, sadly, and that's why the world is so fucked. That's why there is war. That's why we want to attack each other, and that's why there is no peace. Because most of the people in the top at the end, they don't care. They don't care about the individual. They don't care if you go to a war and you get just exploded by a.
They don't, but what can possibly be done about it? Exactly.
We're just referring at these issues. I don't have the solution, but we are making people. Like what I want to accomplish with these videos is people like have a reality of the world because sometimes people is just living in their own little bubble and they ignore what is happening on the world until they just have such a traumatic event that they have to, I had to see it. I don't want them to get to that event. I want people to have awareness of what's going on.
Yeah, I feel that way sometimes too. I think that it can be a bit jarring to realize that for people. And I think it's important that people kind of like...
Yeah, and there's people that stress way more, like at least more than me. There's some people that really, if they start to think about these things like we do, like I've listened to you when you told me like, oh, the war's coming and the world is dangerous. And you start to telling me everything, the political situation.
Yeah.
But there's people that they start thinking about that all the time. They get fucked. They get mentally unstable. They don't eat well. They get depressed. So they have to ignore it.
Yeah.
That's the only way. Not for me particularly. I don't think that's the problem. The people that doesn't take the awareness well enough to be able to live with it without affecting their depression or anxiety. I think that's the problem. The control over your mind.
Yeah, because one puts you into the future. And like news...
They just live in the present.
Being aware of the state of the world like kind of puts you in the future.
Yeah.
The combat that is to just be in the present.
Yes.
Be in the moment and be fine with the fact that anything can happen always. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah, but the thing is like...
doesn't even matter.
Yeah, well for me, the thing about facing these things is like even though we live in the present, there is people that don't want to even know it. Because, for example, there's some people that don't watch the news.
No, I know.
Right?
It's
That's crazy.
It's honestly terrifying that
That's what I'm saying. It's
people
crazy.
don't want to look at what's going on. I'm like,
and that's what I'm talking about.
You do need to. I am tired of people just reading headlines and being like, "That's the truth."
Or they don't even check the source of information.
Nope.
They read something on Facebook.
I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I don't care what the hell you believe in. Like, do your research. Like, at least so that you can bring genuine opinions to the table. But if you're gonna just read a headline and go with it, you're offering nothing to society.
Exactly.
I mean, maybe that's a bit extreme, but
no, it's not. It is what it is.
It's the truth.
I hate disinformation.
Yeah.
I hate it. I'm saying open here. Disinformation is the worst thing that can happen to society.
Rampant because
disinformation has led to wars.
Yeah, it does. Reporters literally make money off of negative head title, like headlines. They just make money. They make more money off of it.
Yeah, clickbait.
Yeah, exactly. And then people have gotten so mindless through technology. I don't know what to call it, but like scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. Now when you're like reading, you're actually not patient enough to read through the headline. So you get it, because I promise
the attention got
yeah, exactly.
got shortened.
It's like this. I promise you, if you like read into the article and sit there and like look at it for 2 seconds, you'd be like, there's not any evidence in any of this article other than gossip. And that's why like God tells you not to gossip. Like, don't gossip because you'll get lost in translation. And so that's what it is, and it's sad. And people need to learn how to like read more, expand.
Yeah, I think the short content is killing society. It's making people way dumber, because now when I see my brothers, my siblings, sorry, and they are like, I have one that is like 13 years old, and she's always in TikTok. And then we're watching a movie or something, and past 5 minutes and she's already on the phone.
Exactly.
Bored of the movie. Like, what happened to your attention? Then you go to class and you cannot even pay attention because you cannot take long times of information, because your body is, and your mind is so used to such a short content, which is shitty for your mind, because nothing is complete.
Yeah.
Nothing is complete.
And there's no chance to develop memory with that. There really isn't, because you're like flooding your brain with useless information.
Useless information.
And then you have to actually train your brain to remember. So you're gonna have to get rid of all that useless information by rewiring your brain to be more, I guess, present. Or
yes, and I know a method. Like there is one doctor that I see on YouTube. He's called Dr. La Rosa. He's an Argentinian doctor. He gives really good recommendations, and he recommends for these situations do dopamine fasting. Dopamine fasting is when you spend a whole day without having any source of dopamine, and you just make your brain get normalize your level of dopamine. Because what happens with the short content is that it's constant dopamine going to your brain. So our brain starts to think that that's the normal level, but it's not. It's high. So when we go back to the normal levels of dopamine, they think it's low. Your brain thinks it's low, but it's not low. That should be you. But when we are scrolling, we're always in that line.
Yeah.
So the solution that he recommends is fasting, dopamine fasting, because then you are normalizing. It's gonna be hard, but then your levels of dopamine, your mind is gonna adapt to the regular level. So you don't listen to music, you don't use your phone, you don't play video games, you don't do anything that looks like entertainment. You don't have sex, nothing that releases your dopamine for 1 day or 2. Then when you come back, you're gonna be so clean because your body regulated your levels of dopamine again. In the serotonin too. So then you are like, you enjoy the content more, you have more patience. This is like, okay, this is me. Yeah. I don't need an external source to be me. I don't need something, because then you get bored out of nothing.
That makes sense.
It does. It's a recommendation from a professional, And wow, when I do it, what I do is I close my Instagram, for example, because it's the one that I use the most. I completely close it.
I love Instagram. It's
Me too.
damn fun. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no.
Yeah. But it's healthy to. I just close it 1 day, 2 days, and then I'm like, oh, I'm back to reality.
Yeah.
I'm back to reality a little bit. I'm doing my things.
Honestly, because everything on social media is not really. I think pretty much it's safe to say that everything is not really honest, an honest depiction of your life. So
Yeah, it's just
you're
an image.
like you're being exposed to it and comparing your life to dishonest lives, and that can be a bit depressing. It's hot.
Well, Maria, thank you so much for coming today. It was a pleasure. We had fun. We talked about different subjects: psychology, spirituality, gratefulness. We touched a lot of subjects, and I think that's what people likes. Listen to our opinions in different subjects.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for coming. Guys, if you drop some likes, she might be back. Let's see how you guys receive it. And you have anything to tell them?
Never ever coming back. No, it's kidding.
Yeah, I'm cooked.